Imagine waking up to a phone call that starts with a simple request, but ends with your life savings disappearing. You might think you are too smart to fall for it, but scammers don't target your intelligence, they target your biology. They are master psychologists who have spent years perfecting a script designed to bypass your logic and go straight for your survival instincts. This is the hidden playbook of psychological warfare used by scammers every single day, and today we are going to tear it apart so you can build an unbreakable mental firewall. The first move in the scammer's playbook is called the amygdala hijack. Your amygdala is the part of your brain responsible for the fight-or-flight response. When you feel a sudden surge of fear or a rush of excitement, your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that handles rational thinking, effectively shuts down. Scammers know this. They create an artificial state of emergency. They tell you that your bank account has been compromised, that there is a warrant for your arrest, or that a family member is in trouble. By injecting high-stakes urgency, they force you into a state of cognitive narrowing. In this state, you lose the ability to see the bigger picture or notice the inconsistencies in their story. You are no longer a person making a choice, you are a biological machine reacting to a perceived threat. Once they have hijacked your emotions, they move to phase 2, the authority illusion. Human beings are socially engineered to respect authority. We are taught from childhood to follow the instructions of police officers, bank managers, and government officials. Scammers exploit this deep-seated social conditioning by using the halo effect. They adopt a tone of professional calm, use complex jargon, and often mimic the exact cadence of a legitimate corporate representative. Once they have hijacked your emotions, they move to phase 2, the authority illusion. The authority illusion. Human beings are socially engineered to respect authority. We are taught from childhood to follow the instructions of police officers, bank managers, and government officials. Scammers exploit this deep-seated social conditioning by using the halo effect. They adopt a tone of professional calm, use complex jargon, and often mimic the exact cadence of a legitimate corporate representative. This is why their English is often so formal and precise. They want to sound like someone who has power over you. By establishing this false authority, they trigger a subconscious sense of compliance. You start to feel that questioning them is not just rude, but dangerous. This is where most people stop being skeptical and start following orders. The third and perhaps most dangerous psychological weapon they use is the sunk cost trap. The third and perhaps most dangerous psychological weapon they use is the sunk cost trap. Have you ever wondered why scammers keep you on the line for 40 or 50 minutes? It's not just because they are slow, it's a calculated strategy. The longer you stay on the phone, the more of your time and mental energy you have invested. Your brain hates to feel like it has wasted resources. Once you have spent 30 minutes talking to someone, your mind starts to rationalize the interaction. You tell yourself that if this were a scam, you would have realized it by now. Therefore, because you are still on the phone, it must be real. This self-justification is exactly what the scammer wants. They lead you down a path of small yeses, until you reach the final devastating yeses where you hand over your information or money. Now that we have deconstructed their playbook, how do we break it? The first step is to implement a pattern interrupt. A scammer script relies on a specific flow of conversation. If you break that flow, their psychological leverage collapses. When you feel the pressure rising, ask a question that is completely outside of their script. Ask them what the weather is like, where they are, or tell them you need to go check on something in the kitchen for 60 seconds. This small break forces your brain to disengage from the emotional hijack and allows your rational prefrontal cortex to come back online. It is the mental equivalent of splashing cold water on your face during a nightmare. You also need to understand the concept of defensive communication. Scammers use power language to make you feel small. You can counter this by using neutral observation. Instead of saying I'm sorry, I don't understand, say the information you are providing is inconsistent with my records. This shifts the power dynamic back to you. You are no longer a victim being interrogated, you are an auditor reviewing a claim. The final piece of the puzzle is destigmatizing the conversation around scams. This silence allows the scammers to continue using the same playbook on the next person. By understanding these psychological triggers, the amygdala hijack, the halo effect, and the sunk cost trap, you take away their greatest weapon, the element of surprise. Trust is a beautiful human trait, and it is the foundation of our society. Scammers want to turn that virtue against you, but knowledge is the ultimate shield. When you hang up that phone, or when you see that suspicious email, remember that you are the one in control of your attention and your trust. The mind flip here is realizing that the scammer is more afraid of your silence and your questions than you are of their threats. They are working a job, following a script, and hoping you don't notice the man behind the curtain. Once you see the strings, the puppet show is over. Stay vigilant, protect your peace of mind, and never let someone else's manufactured urgency dictate your reality. You have the power to break the script. Use it,